Hey guys, welcome back to Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader. Last episode was quite fun, doing the Aurora, the Chaos Space Marine, so tough fight, but we got through it and we're going up to the Void Ship Bridge now. So let's do it. And yeah, we'll see how much dialogue and story there is to get through. So this episode might be all reading dialogue, but we'll see how everything goes. It is exciting to get through Act 1 though. Finally get to see the Act 2, well, not Act 2, the Tier 2 archetypes. It's going to be fun to learn those as we go. I might end up cutting out some of those loading screens too, if they take too long. Thanks be to the Emperor, you are alive, your lordship. We are most gratified by your return, and the crew is full of zeal to carry out any orders you may have. Before anything else, I will hear an account of what happened to the system's sun. Lord Captain, we saw a number of ships approach the sun. Black creations of inhuman make, amalgams of sharp angles and edges. They surrounded the star and then... My apologies, but I struggle to find the words that would describe that terrible sight. The Xenos made the sun vanish into the void. The interrogator closes his eyes and grimaces. Drukhari. You see Abelard's expression change as if a shadow has suddenly fallen over him. He rubs his temple wearily, as if we did not have enough troubles on our hands already. Okay, we have a successful Lord Xenos option. The Xenos, enemies of humanity. A breed of the Eldari, the most cruel and devious of their kind. The design of their ships matches the description provided by the Voxmaster. Like all Xenos, the Drukhari are a blight on the face of the galaxy, but their technological superiority is indisputable. They abhor and fear warp sorcery, which is why they rely on creations of their twisted intellect. And many of those creations are capable of things that may seem akin to sorcery to the unenlightened eye. The theft of a sun is one example of what they are capable of. Are the Xenos in league with Aurora's cultists? We can rule out that possibility. The Drukhari would never ally themselves with the archenemy's worshippers. If I had to name one thing that humanity and these Xenos have in common, it would be a shared loathing for warp corruption. The situation calls for immediate action, Stu. We can continue this conversation later if you so wish, but right now, I believe you should assume command. What is the current situation on board? The navigator's sanctum is no longer empty, but the warp engine is still refusing to obey the engine sears. Without it, we cannot perform a warp jump. It may be angry, or perhaps it is lamenting the injuries it has suffered. I will immediately initiate preparations for a prayer service. If the Omnissiah grants me comprehension, I will appease the machine spirit of this vessel. Why did you not send a shuttle to the planet for me? I do apologize, your lordship, but we were unable to receive your request for evacuation. The Voxlink was overrun with vile interference, screams, blasphemous hymns, and other equally sinister noises. Any who listened to the interference for a protracted period lost their sanity. Several dozen operators went mad monitoring the Voxcaster in the hope of hearing your voice. Each one of them waited in vain. What is happening on the planet now? Our auger operators are reporting numerous uprisings and other manifestations of the archenemy's powers at various locations on the planet. Based on the fragments of communication picked up by our Vox operators, there is practically no resistance being offered by the governor's forces. Millions of people are converting to blasphemous Final Dawn cult en masse and assembling in prayer circle. do we have any hope of retaking the planet? I fear that Rykad Minoris is lost. The situation is deteriorating by the minute. We must leave the system as soon as possible. However, there are still people on the planet who have not succumbed to heresy and who are worthy of rescue. Besides the small number of our own shuttles, we also have shuttles salvaged from the starport. Dark eyes of the sister of Battle Flash, we must save as many as we can. This has all happened for a reason. Saint Argenta, whose name I carry with reverence and trepidation, is famed for saving the people of a dying world through the power of prayer. The God Emperor himself sent a star from the heavens that lifted the saint and her followers up to the sky, away from corruption and death. We must do as she did, direct all our efforts to saving those people who at this moment look to the heavens in hope of salvation. The lives of peasants are of little value. Our prime objective is to save the holy relic, the miraculous fusion reactor, and the electro priests who guard and tend to it. Every moment we spend in proximity to a dying world, we are putting ourselves at risk. Your life, Lord Captain, is far more valuable than all of Rykad Minoris. The von Valancius dynasty cannot be allowed to perish, and so lamentable though it is, we must rule out any idea of evacuation. Heinrich's eyes, like two deep dark pools, are resolutely fixed on you. The world is doomed, and its inhabitants along with it. The disappearance of the star was the final nudge toward death, the finale of the cult of the Final Dawn's plans. I once witnessed a similar event, a world that had surrendered to the servants of the archenemy and permitted corruption to enter too deep. At this moment, millions of people are bowing down before those who promised them salvation, and they are willingly giving over their souls to chaos, a sacrifice great enough to bring forth a demon world. Our only hope of stopping this process is to retreat to a safe distance from the planet and conduct targeted bombing of the Electro Priest Monastery. If we blow up the reactor, a thermonuclear reaction will follow. The world's oxygen will evaporate, killing off the entire biosphere. In doing this, we will save millions of souls from a fate far worse than death, and we will save Rykad Minoris from becoming an outpost of the archenemy. Whatever fate you choose for this world, I urge you to make haste, Lord Captain. The planet is burning in raging flashes of crimson and purple. I can see it even from orbit, as do I see that the storm is already upon us. With every moment that we waste, it grows ever more difficult and perilous to steer the ship through the warp's turbulent currents. I'm with the lady on this. Enough talking. We need to get out of here while we still can. Something lurking in the depths of your consciousness bristles at the passing thought of saving people. The spike of horror you feel takes your breath away. It's as if you are planning to steal the prey of a mighty predator. The planet is already wrapped in a thread stretching out from the warp. It deserves to have a new master. Why can we not try to evacuate at least some of the people? Which of the planet's inhabitants can we evacuate? Let's go with that. The nobles you rescued at the starport are given the coordinates of shelters where we can find surviving aristocrats and their families. As for Sergeant Malgar's troops, they will help to control the crowds of frightened commoners and prevent shuttles from being overloaded. Thanks to you, we have salvaged many shuttles from the starport that we can now use. Have the pilots extract all the commoners who have not yet converted to the cult of Final Dawn. Any delay caused by loading and transporting to the ship will cost us precious time. Do not deceive yourself, Stu. If you indulge your vanity, you will do billions to eternal torment at the hands of the archenemy. Do not forget yourself, Interrogator. One more objection from you and I shall forget all about the need to deliver you to Footfall alive. You detect a flicker of something beneath Heinrich's sanguine mask. Anger, bitterness, whatever it may be, it does not seep into their Interrogator's dispassionate voice. In that case, I consider it necessary to point out that the mark of the archenemy could infiltrate the ship, along with any rescued people. Keep that in mind for the future. Consider it done. It is likely our shuttles will have capacity to evacuate more people. Let's save the nobles. Consider it done. It is likely our shuttles will have capacity to evacuate more people. Then let's do the miraculous fusion reactor. I'm afraid we do not have enough shuttles at our disposal for this mission. Transporting the relic will require greater resources than evacuating the people. Well, there's nothing else to do then. That's interesting. I wonder if you stop the Chaos Marine from destroying the first shuttle, if that helps you get everyone off. It's going to be interesting to see if that's possible in another playthrough. You should have listened to me, Rogue Trader. We will all have to pay for this mistake. The bridge is an upheaval. The technomats' prayers mix together in a senseless cacophony while servitors work hastily to remove a hardened crust of sacred unguents from the warp engine's components. In the middle of all this tumult stands Pascal with a data slate clutched in his hand, seemingly disconnected from the flurry of activity around him. What's going on here? The warp sextant is not responding to commands. The ship's spirit is rejecting our prayers in anger. I'm currently calculating a plea that might appease the noble spirit. Magos, why don't you assume control of the technomats? Surely their contribution will speed things up. They would only be a hindrance. I'm searching for a way to rectify the error. Pascal is muttering without taking his eyes off the data slate. There is a certain anxiousness to the way he moves his mechadendrite. Crew, heed the word of Magos Hanuman. Pascal, I kindly request that you take charge of this mess. Let's not interfere. The hectic storm of prayers and haphazard rituals rages on. Pascal, still as a statue in the eye of this maelstrom, makes no attempt to bring it under control. Your lordship, warp spawn have invaded the ship. We have blocked their advance by depressurizing one of the infirmaries in their path, but it is only a temporary measure. The crew have been ordered to arm themselves and pray for the success of the Lord Captain and his engines seared prime. Crew, alright, I guess we're doing the heed the word of Magos and Newman then. Thank you, your lordship, you are right. Tech comrades, heed my instruction. The mayhem immediately subsides and the crew's action fall into some indiscernible logic. The omniscience servants start working in sync and the binaric clamor becomes a symphony of reports which the Magos coordinates like a skillful conductor. Admirably done, Pascal. The omnisci guides me. The prayers of the tech priests surrounding the cogitator almost drown out the sounds of the bustling bridge behind you. Pascal, poring intently over the data slate in his hands, extends mechadendrite toward you. Please take your place at the cogitator, Lord Captain. Let's step up. The huge machine in front of you is lit with dozens of vid screens and hundreds of lumens. The blinking lights and endless rush of symbols and digits on the green background make your eyes water, and a vague sense of alarm simmers in the depths of your mind. The typical reaction of a layperson when confronted with the magnitude of the omnisci's creation. Among the numerous controls you see the mouth of a cyber gargoyle, the same at the gate to the warrant chamber. Pascal's voice becomes imbued with imperious force. Servants of the machine god, heed my command. Acolytes, prepare the incense instrumentation for the liturgy of machine spirit propitiation. Senior technomats recite the prayer to generate a current data report. Operations will be marked with the campanological protocol. Omnisci rejoice. I must inform you that for the purposes of safety, complete reassembly of the warp sextant and updating of its data smith settings are required. If this is not done, then launch at volume of aggregate calculation errors could result in the destruction of the data crypts. But as we do not have 100 hours at our disposal, we must omit this procedure. Pascal looks down at the data slate in his hands. A minor deviation from the rite of operation for the sake of appeasing the spirit. What must I do? Place your hand inside the throat of the cogitator guardian, the cyber gargoyle which has been assigned to guard the forbidden data crypts. The dynastic blood extracted from your veins will serve as a key to the data core where the machine spirit dwells. To it we will offer our prayers so that we may bypass the protective protocol for defective connections and launch the warp sextant. The laws of the Omnissiah know no exceptions, and so in this ritual I will remain at your side to protect the wrathful machine spirit in whose abode you will be intruding. Follow my liturgies, Lord Captain, and may we receive his blessing. Let's do it then. The metal jaws clamp down on your hand, breaking your delicate corporeal sheath and releasing warm red liquid into its gullet. At the same moment, the image on the vid screen before you changes. Connecting. Success. Gesture at the vid screen. What does it all mean? At the sound of your voice, the cogitator's servant, whose bronze-bound skeleton is built into the cogitator housing, shudders. With a screech, its skull rotates toward you and then stops in that position. Benevolent code, a voice receptor. Pascal emits a sequence of binaric signals and then is silent for several seconds. I hypothesize that the defect is located in the analyzer block. I register a reaction to the signal but no process response. A temporary override is permissible. The Magos intently studies the vid screen. The shell was created on a forge world unknown to me, initiating standard invocation of the machine spirit. Pascal leans over the adjacent instrument panel and sets his hands on the controls. At the same time, a quiet stream of machine code begins pouring forth from his box. What should I do now? Lord Captain, I now ask you to address the machine spirit. Speak the following command. By my authority, I revoke the inviolability protocol of the warp engine. The voice receptor will receive the vocal entry. Without your sanction, the machine spirit will not accept data from the warp sextant. Well, let's do it. One of the cogitator's vid screens turns red. Pascal sees this and raises his hand, signaling to the rest of the tech priests. Then withdraws a connector from his sleeve and connects it to the machine. Servants of the Omnissiah, make now the offering of cleansed data crypts to the machine spirit so that it may be filled with their true and calibrated data. May the Omnissiah have mercy on our soul. In meek solemnity, the acolytes offer up the cleansed data crypts to the warp engine one after another, repeating prayers of exaltation after anointing the contacts with sacred unguent. Pascal inserts them in the cogitator's slots. Your head begins to spin from the holy senses, foul-smelling clouds of smoke, and from the loss of blood that the cyber gargoyle continues to drink from you, and the world swims before your eyes. Let this mechanism awaken in renewed purity. Pascal enters a sequence of commands and raises his head, watching the vid screen. Suddenly he stops dead. No. His fingers fly over the command room, entering command after command, his mechadendrites clicking their pincers, pull at one lever after another. The vid screens fill with strings of symbols, completely incomprehensible to you but clearly conveying something to the Magos. Is everything alright, Magos? After a few seconds, one of the data crypts mounted on the cogitators begins to emit sparks. A moment later, another data crypt does the same. The next bursts into flames and gives off foul-smelling smoke. Around you, the Omnissiah servants break off from their prayers and someone bursts into frantic pleading. Pascal mournfully grates out. The mass of errors in the warp sextant's calculations is destroying the data repositories. The offering did not appease the ship spirit. The warp engine cannot be filled with the motive force. We are trapped. A moment later, the Magos continues uncertainly. Perhaps an alternative Ryzen protocol or an emergency launch of the auxiliary coils. Tech Priest bends over the cogitator, but something in his pose and movements reveals his desperation. While other vid screens are filled with more and more strings of symbols, the monitor in front of you blinks and its static image changes. Pascal is too engrossed in his ritual to notice. Magos Hanuman, a moment if you will. Lord Captain, I stops short when he sees the vid screen. Distorted transmissions from the data core, most likely the residual cognitive functions of the built-in servitors. Omnissiah shield us from machine ghosts. He returns to manipulating the cogitator's command room. Machine Spirit, can you hear me? The cogitator servant creaked quietly in its joints, a sound that is drowned out by the Banaric hymns and tapping of command words. Input prompt. Rescue query. Rescue? Yes, Machine Spirit, rescue us. Lord Captain, the excess emotion in your command will render it unintelligible to... Pascal's next vocalization goes unsynthesized as he sees the vid screens begin to stabilize one after another. The strings frenetically galloping across the green background are replaced with stable images or regularly updating status report. Only one monitor remains inexplicably red. The tech priest Vox crackles in shock, but his report is as clipped and clinical as ever. Registering warp sextant activated, registering data string stabilizing, registering 0 data errors found, reporting the warp engine is ready for translation. After a pause, Pascal adds, I'm also reporting evidence indicating a category 3 miracle fulfilling the criterion. Thou shalt witness the mechanism that toils in glorification of its function and in defiance of deactivation. Lord Captain, Ravel here. The crew are almost finished carrying out the orders given earlier, and I've just received confirmation from engineering halls. I don't know what you did, but the warp engine's up and raring to go. We're ready to begin the translation to the warp, your lordship. The Lord Captain speaking. I give the order to commence translation to the warp. Waiting for you to ascend the captain's throne, Lord Captain. May the Emperor protect us.
Valancia's flagship made its way out of the doomed star system. As the void shift plunged deeper into the Corona's expanse, the rogue trader's subjects bid a formal farewell to the late head of the dynasty, Theodora von Valancius. Having paid their last respects, the crew gathered their strength and braced themselves for whatever was to come next.
Lord Captain, allow me to report. Our journey through the warp is coming to an end. Lady Navigator Orcelia informed me that we have reached the point where we can translate to real space in the Furibundus system. The Lady Navigator and her pilots are awaiting your permission to begin the process. The Furibundus system is home to Footfall, the only Imperium outpost with a functioning wharf in the Coronas expanse. Tech priests are begging you to have mercy on the machines worn down by the warp and to allow the servants of the Omnissiah to inspect and heal the void ship's wounds in the dock. The prayers and rituals will take some time, which our astropathic choir will use to establish a connection with the prime worlds of your protectorate, Dargonus, Janus and Kiava Gamma. Master Zachary Weiss has recovered an invitation previously adrift in the Immaterium. The Liege of Footfall has humbly requested an audience with the rogue trader of the Von Valancius dynasty. According to Master Zachary, the message was tinted with shades of pleading. I quote, "Apparently the Liege is anxious to meet as soon as possible." Footfall, the place where filth and sanctity go hand in hand. Reverend Hieronymus de La Rosso will most likely expect a visit from me. I imagine he will be interested in talking to you as well, Stooge. I will be leaving your void ship when we arrive on Footfall, Stooge. Once that is done, consider the Lord Inquisitor's task complete. Your Lordship, young Yvain Winterscale has asked me to convey his gratitude for your hospitality and saving him from certain death. Not wishing to outstay his welcome, he plans to disembark at Footfall. Lord Yvain swears he will not forget his debt to you. I hereby inform the rogue trader that during a comprehensive system inspection right, this unit discovered data clusters within the captain's cogitator that are concealed from prying eyes by means of a personal cipher and a sacrament of algorithmic authorization. Unit Stooge von Valancius has been added to the access list and assigned to the identifier Keeper 2. The unit can access the data from the captain's cogitator provided that he possesses the decryption key. You detect a hint of something resembling curiosity in Pascal's mechanical voice. Are you leaving us, Heinrichs? The arrangement between the Lord Inquisitor and your predecessor was that I be transported to Footfall and no farther. I dare not take advantage of your generosity and patience any more than I already have, Stu. I hope we meet again. True servants of the Emperor are always welcome aboard my ship. Heinrich regards you with a curious look and a polite smile. An interrogator of the Inquisition seldom gets to hear such words. Thank you for your hospitality, Stu. I will not forget it. Argenta, who is this Reverend Hieronymus who wants to talk to me? He is the head of the Drusian mission on Footfall and one of the most prominent clergymen in the sector. Paying him a visit is a good thing for any loyal servant of the Emperor to do. I assisted his mission before I joined Lady Theodora on her voyage. I need his blessing to accompany the new rogue trader of the Von Valancius dynasty. If you wish to have me aboard your voyage ship, I request that we meet with Reverend Hieronymus. Victus, tell me about the system we are arriving in. Furibundus is valuable due to its close proximity to the Maw, the gateway to the Imperium. The system is mostly known for Footfall, the main base for merchants, privateers and rogue traders traversing the Coronis Expanse. Additionally, the star itself is orbited by an Adeptus Mechanicus station which is off limits to outsiders. Alta Templum Calixus X17. I had the honor of tending to this shrine for a few thousand cycles. I suggest you abstain from visiting it as most tech comrades at the station are engaged in meditative calculations that should not be interrupted. Hope I can choose these, but I just want to get out and save the game at this point. Let's go with tell the Lady Navigator I give her leave to make the translation from the warp into real space. Vigdis begins issuing instructions. The massive ship appears to change with her every word. The bridge is set in motion as hundreds of people start to prepare for the shift to real space, and measured chanting fills the corridors to safeguard the vessel and its crew. One more thing, Lord Captain. No one at the station knows about Lady Theodora's demise and you inheriting the title. Liege Drukhari will be informed. It is required so we can use the dock, and besides, he is expecting a personal audience with the rogue trader. He will not meet with an unknown person of unclear standing. However, there is still the matter of announcing your arrival. You can either arrive on the station with the proper pomp and ceremony, or choose to visit it incognito. Tell me in detail how these choices will benefit me. According to Footfall's unwritten laws, rogue traders enjoy special privileges that exceed even the power of the Liege. However, they may choose not to exercise those privileges in certain situations. Arriving incognito will give you more room for maneuver, while an official visit will allow you to directly intervene in local affairs. I shall explain if you do not mind. According to the unwritten rule, every rogue trader arriving at the station has the right to veto any of the Liege's decisions. But there is a catch. The Coronis Expanse is home to several influential rogue trader dynasties, and Footfall is where their interests intersect. Of course, that does not prevent certain persons, namely Caligos Winterscale, from subtly pulling the strings in footfall. If you, as a new road trader, start your career with an official landing and parade in your honor, the other dynasties may see this as gesture as the newcomer challenging their spheres of influence. I do not see that as a bad thing necessarily. Old Man Winterscale may take slight offense, order will be put on her guard, but you have just risen to prominence and most people in the Coronis Expanse have not even heard about Lady Theodora's departure yet. It must be made clear that the banner of Von Valancius soars as high as ever. If I may, I would recommend arriving incognito. You will have plenty of opportunities to savor the sweetness and the burden of power. But right now is the last time you can take refuge in obscurity. This way your arrival will not draw much attention and the people will treat you as a person and not the almighty sovereign anointed by the Emperor. Could turn some situations to your advantage. Tell the Liege I will arrive incognito. It will be done, Lord Captain. With your gracious permission, I will return to my duties. Alright. Let's save it here. Start of Act 2. And... okay. Let's see. Who can we talk to? Let's have a chat with the Voxmaster. Lord Captain, the ship informed me of our imminent meeting. Have the Vox Spirits brought you anything interesting lately? You may be interested to know that a group of officers was discussing a grim rumor over lunch. Word has it the apparition of Lord Captain Theodora has been sighted on board lately. Yes, you heard right. They say she's haunting the decks, dragging wayward crew members off into oblivion. Disquiet has spread through the ship as the anomaly has been reported in different sections, sometimes entire kilometers apart. Master Heinrich van Kalox expressed interest in our communication stations and Voxnets a while ago. The interrogator appears to be very well versed in the matters of sacred technology, and it worries me. A man of his knowledge and in his line of work is capable of discreetly planting his own devices in our system. We will be vigilant, Lord Captain, but you should try to be more careful as well. That sounds fair enough. Okay. I don't think I talked to Pascal and Abel. I guess Heinrichs is gone. Forgot to talk to Heinrichs before we finished up, but that's alright.
The Omnissiah knows all, comprehends all.
I want to know the truth about you.
The request is approved. I did conceal certain information. I was a student of Archmagus Amanat, but I committed an act of betrayal after he deviated from sacred dogma.
What did Amanat do?
He fell into schism and challenged the sacred boundaries of knowledge. The blessed Amanat claimed the limits of what is permitted must be expanded, because by refusing to explore certain law, we find ourselves in contempt of the seventh universal law. Comprehension is the key to all things.
Sacred commandments observed by all followers of the cult Mechanicus. Okay, interesting.
My mentor put forth a thesis claiming that we have stagnated, that ritual is now nothing but a cage for souls and false worship of the Omnissiah. He sought to break the cycle of mindless repetition because he saw the inevitable demise of our faith and all humanity at the end of it.
That seems like a theological argument, not a political one.
Even those who have ascended to the Omnissiah's wisdom still bear the seed of imperfection born of their flesh. But the ambitions of individuals mean little when we discuss ritual and belief. Knowledge is divine, and any argument as to how it must be reached is an argument of ritual and belief.
How did you betray Amanat?
The team and word of it reached the conclave of the Cognizance fleet. They recognized his teachings as tech heresy. Many tech priests suddenly vanished or were subjected to servo penance for minor transgressions. The students of Amonat, whose number included many enlightened and respected brothers, resisted. My prognosis showed that our most likely future was a schism and a fratricidal war that would destroy the Cognizance fleet. That was when I headed to the Conclave. I confessed and handed the information about my mentor's research over to the Conclave. Brazen, anathematic studies of the Forbidden Law. The Conclave could use that data to summon Archmagos Amonat to stand trial and compel him to repent on pain of excommunicate Traitoris. His subsequent fate is unknown to me.
So you betrayed your mentor?
This statement is true. However, I took this step out of loyalty to my mentor. He rejected caution and was leading us to a blasphemous war where he would become the first and most important victim. I did not want to witness his destruction and tried to force him to submit. I wanted to return to my mentor and share his fate, but the Conclave found me repentant and sent me to the station Alta Templum Calixis EXT-17, where I was to atone for my previous transgressions.
You acted as a loyal son of the Imperium should.
I pray that the Omnissiah grants us wisdom to overcome the dialectic differences that divide us.
I might come back and talk to him a bit later.
Acknowledged. I will return to ruminating on the search for the blessed Amonat.
Hopefully I can talk about that again, although it doesn't look like I will be able to.
May your labors be effective.
Okay. Oh, Heinrichs is down there. Okay. See if there's anything else in the captain's quarters. There's some loot here. Goods. Base of the Sovereign. Wearer gains additional +1 resolve whenever they kill an enemy. That's pretty nice. Von Valancius cloak. While the wearer is at full wounds, they gain +5 to all characteristics. That's quite good. Oh, Pascal has a level up. Okay, nice. Forgot about that. Okay. Let's save it here and let's handle Pascal's upgrade. Oh, level up. Dismantling attack also intimidates all enemies in a 5-cell radius around the target. Okay. Back to archetypes. Let's make him a bounty hunter. Okay. I don't think there's anything else here, so basically the void ship, there's just the bridge and the captain's quarters at this moment in time. It seems, anyway. Since Heinrichs might be leaving, let's have a quick chat with him. I know nothing about you, Heinrichs. Could you tell me a little bit about yourself?
I'm usually the one interested in the pasts of those around me, not the reverse. I come from a night world, Guizorn 3. I belong to a branch of one of the noble houses until my exceptional abilities were discovered. After that, I was sent on a black ship to Holy Terra, where I was trained and I began my service for the glory of the Imperium.
Do you remember your home planet?
I do, but I have no ties to my homeworld now. None except my first name. I left Guizorn 3 when I was still a child. My family disowned me, stripping me of my family name. I was given a new one by those who trained me. Even for a noble, being branded a psyker is a mark of eternal shame. I experienced that firsthand before I was put on the black ship.
How did you discover your abilities?
Like many psykers unaware of their curse, I found out when a strong emotional reaction triggered an involuntary response. My great-aunt had a pet grink. One day, it bit me, and I boiled it from inside out. And when my great-aunt slapped me for what I'd done, I boiled her too.
Sorcerer's powers are truly dangerous. I hope you have mastered your abilities since then.
When I arrived on Holy Terra and was tested, I was found to be suitable material for becoming a sanctioned psyker, able to bend his curse to his own will. I can assure you that the adepts of the Astra Telepathica were right in their assessment.
Tell me about Black Ship.
Picture a vast prison ship, filled with frightened, angry psykers who can't control their abilities and who have just lost their homes and their families. Some of them were children and adolescents like I was. Some were monstrous creatures who no longer had the right to be called human, or psychopaths who reveled in their impure powers. Once, when one of the miscreants broke free, those in command simply depressurized the bay and got rid of the culprit, along with the prisoners and crew tainted by him. But even after that, I heard the echo of inhuman suffering and terror that filled that part of the ship. It grieves me to recall that episode to this day.
You were sent to the Inquisition straight after training?
No. First, I was accorded the status of a psyker fit for service in the Imperial Guard, where I then spent several years. It was only afterward that I became an agent of the Golden Throne.
Hey? How long have you served in the Inquisition?
Since the day of my initiation as an acolyte. So, decades. How many real years it's been, it's hard to say. When I return from a journey through the warp, I often discover that much more or much less time has passed in real space.
You visited many worlds during your service, I'll wager.
Indeed. I have visited many of the places brought to the Emperor's light, and those sullied by the filth of the archenemy. In truth, even after all these years spent visiting the various corners of the Imperium and looking beyond its borders, I still consider the Segmentum Solar to be the greatest of all humanity's bastions. Nothing compares to the majesty of Holy Terra, the might of Mars, the grandeur of the Segment's other worlds.
What duties have you been carrying out for the Inquisitor?
You can't really be expecting me to answer that question, can you?
I guess not. For someone who's been in service for decades, you certainly look young.
The first step for biomancers such as myself is to take control of the processes of their own body, including aging. I've endured innumerable hazards in my work. If I allowed every trace of them to remain, I would look completely different today.
Change the subject.
Gladly.
Not the Inquisitor's only acolyte, correct?
Of course not. The Lord Inquisitor's entourage comprises dozens of people. The best of the best. Experts in various fields and disciplines. Some of them I know personally. Others I have never met. To be honest, I'm not even certain that the people I know are still alive. I used to work with other acolytes of the Lord Inquisitor, but in the Coronis Expanse, I have been working alone.
Wandering among the stars without family or friends, don't you get lonely?
I rarely have the time or the opportunity to think about it.
If you're an interrogator, does that mean you hold a special position in the retinue?
We are not a retinue. We are acolytes. As for your question, I am closer than anyone else to the one I call my personal teacher. The Lord Inquisitor deemed me worthy of undertaking the most important and sensitive tasks requiring the attention of agents of the Golden Throne.
Are there other acolytes in the Coronis Expanse? I guess we're not getting an answer from that. Need to know basis, I suppose.
The Lord Inquisitor was most insistent that I master the discipline of Santic Demonology. I use my faith and my power to crush the enemies of the Imperium. Servants of Chaos tremble at the sound of the Emperor's name, uttered by my lips. I am also a skilled biomancer. I can manipulate bodily processes. Sometimes I resort to those skills in the course of my work, when it is necessary to make the subject of an interrogation more cooperative.
Saw a bit of that when we first met him. I must take my leave. Okay. Alright, well, we'll talk to Pascal and Abel in the future. Talk to them a bit more in depth. But I think at this point this is a good place to end the video here. Now that we're finally in Act 2, we're in Footfall. The next video will obviously go on to the, I think Footfall's a planet, so we'll touch down and then see what happens from there. Thanks a lot for watching. See you in the next video.